Hey everyone, this is Justice League number 2. But real fast before I get started on this review, um, just wanted to point out a couple things back from issue 1 that as I was looking through this, I realized I wanted to highlight. Um, and, well, first off, just the art all in general is really, really good. But I really liked this Green Lantern shot right here with his super big, space bazooka, basically. Um, so that's if they were going to destroy they're calling it to the Totality. So that's the source wall comet that's flying to Earth. Um, if that makes sense. So it's armed with a bullet that contains a miniaturized omniversal wormhole because that that is the comic book way to get rid of a problem as big as this. Shoot it with a miniaturized wormhole. So anyway, I just really, really liked the detail that was put into this weapon. It looks super awesome, and it is just really cool to have that that good of art in here. And then also, again, the Legion of Doom, which is really cool to see them in here. And then also we see a little bit of the Hall of Doom right here. So for those of you who watched Super Friends or who've watched Justice League Unlimited, you will recognize that almost Darth Vader-like dome. So I just thought that was really cool that they Jim Chung, I think is how you pronounce his name, um, went to such great lengths to give the fans what they wanted. I thought that was really cool. So moving on to issue 2, the Totality Part 2. So the Totality has reached Earth, but before we even see that, we see a little bit of Lex Luthor's past. And he is at a meeting of the Legionnaires Club, chapter 3675, which his father belonged to. And apparently Lex Luthor always hated this group because his father would spend so much time with them instead of him as a boy. So he comes back as an adult to blow them all up. So this is where we actually see, Lex Luthor being a criminal. Sometimes he's just depicted as a genius who takes things too far. But when there's stuff like this, it really shows how crazy he actually is, even though he is incredibly smart. He's still very wicked. So it's a bad scene, but it's a good reminder of, hey, Lex Luthor, he is a bad guy. He really is. So after that scene, we see John Stewart, who I'm thrilled to have in this book. Even though I like Hal Jordan, John Stewart is just cooler in my opinion. Especially the way that Hal Jordan is depicted a lot is kind of a overconfident, flippant kind of guy, narcissistic almost. John Stewart is very humble and very straight to the point and matter of fact, and I really like that characteristic. And I mean, he's just so cool. And his voice from the Justice League TV show was awesome, and that's totally what I hear when I read the dialogue, John's dialogue in here. So I just thought that was cool all around. So he just got done capturing this creature, and his name, what is his name? Grelock. So anyway, he has him captured and he's waiting for the Guardians, I assume, on Oa to get a cell ready, or whatever jail he's going to transport Grelock to. They're still getting a cell ready. So anyway, he's just flying around waiting for them, and Grelock starts to taunt John Stewart about the totality, and he says, "We'll come for what's on the other side of this starfield, Johnny boy. We know what's here. You can't hide it forever. And then what? You think your little plant will save you? Ha! You think it'll fight for you, grow a big right hook, and then just psh, punches him." So he's talking about this little plant here, this little flower, which I guess emits like a calming effect. So it makes people who are around it calmer and eases their mind. So anyway, then we cut straight into this scene with Swamp Thing, which I honestly don't know how we got into space. If this is a hologram or if this is actually Swamp Thing and he just like teleported to the spaceship. I'm not exactly sure. But anyway, he has a message from Batman. And Batman is asking John to join the Justice League. He shows him the head that Jean Jones saw in the last issue. And, explains just how dire their situation is. And explains that a week ago, an energy source containing all the power of the source wall landed in the Nevada desert. We're calling it the Totality. It created a protective shell around itself, shaped almost like a head. Deep in this shell lies the Totality itself. It's been sending out a code. They think that the code might be the key to fixing the multiverse, but they need John's help. And John asks why can't Hal help, and Batman says that Hal is dealing with the wall. But, even if he weren't, John has led the Corps for years, so if anyone would know what they're up against, he has. So I think they're changing the continuity a bit. I don't really keep up with Green Lantern stuff, just besides what's in Justice League books or, the other books that I read. I've never been a huge Green Lantern fan, but I don't know, maybe John has been leading the Corps for years. I mean, he probably has, but excuse me, I just didn't know that. By the way, I know sometimes I cough during the videos, and I think that's because my head is a little bit tucked, and I don't know, it just kind of makes me cough. But anyway, sorry about that. So then Batman tells him that the other day Killer Croc, Waylon Jones, entered the energy shell. Minutes ago he rematerialized near Belle Rive prison, but he'd been changed. And they hear this roaring John hears this roaring in the background, and Batman's like, that would be Waylon. So guys, that's what the Totality did to Killer Croc. First off, can we appreciate this art? Jorge Jimenez is just knocking it out of the park with this stuff. This is awesome. But yeah, that's Killer Croc. So the Justice League are fighting them, but this mutation is adapting, and it's making him a perfect monster to defend it and fight the League. So he develops oxidized kryptonite to fight Superman, and I'm sure he's developing other attributes to fight the rest of the League. And so Batman's like, dang it, John, we need your help. John is kind of reluctant to help. He's like, yeah, I'm already kind of busy. I don't want to get in the middle of this. I just want to do my own thing. Which is kind of how he was in the Justice League cartoons. But Batman's like, yeah, no, we need your help. The wall is broken and the forces of nature are going berserk. The Speed Force is failing. So yeah, the Speed Force is tripping up Barry. And just everything is just flying out of whack. So anyway, he transports Grelock, and Batman says, we need both sides of you, John, the architect and the soldier. Um, so since said Zanshi, whatever that is, he's been just a soldier. So I guess he's been a soldier for a long time, and Batman's just trying to get him back to being a architect too. So anyway, with the help of, it looks like, Beast Boy, they get Killer Croc down and under wraps. So then Martian Manhunter asks Batman how to go, and he just says, "I can't tell yet." So then we cut to the Legion of Doom, and it is really cool to see these characters. I keep saying this, but it's true. I like these characters. I grew up with these characters, and it's cool to see them back fighting the Justice League. So Gorilla Grodd is asking, what's taken so long? I didn't join this group for some magical mumbo jumbo. I joined because I want revenge on the Speedster for what he's done to me. Of course, I did not read that in my Grodd voice. I'm not going to right now. So apparently Lex Luthor opened a door that revealed his fate. Not just his, but everyone and everything. And that the word doom, the original form of the word doom, simply meant fate. So then Lex Luthor says the totality is the key to everything, but to control it, we must first unlock the 7 hidden forces of the universe. Forces that the Source Wall made nearly impossible to access. What the Totality's code is telling us, each force is something one of you has been looking for, his or her whole life, whether you know it or not. So, it looks like the Legion of Doom is going to go on a bit of a, treasure hunt, really, for these forces. And I guess there's a force for each member of the Legion. So I guess that'll be interesting to see. Hopefully that doesn't take too long, and we can see a battle between the Legion of Doom and Justice League before too long. I have a feeling that they're obviously going to go after the Totality as well, but they're going to be armed with these forces of nature that have been hidden, and so that they're going to be even more powerful. And anyway, that's just where I see the story going. So then they come back to the Hall of Justice. It's really cool to see this. Meanwhile, in the Hall of Justice, it brings back so many memories from watching Super Friends as a kid. Every time they show the Hall of Justice is, meanwhile, in the Hall of Justice. And the stars would flash, and it was all cool. So yeah, they're talking about the energy field, and that, inevitably they're going to need to go inside it. And so they're trying to decide who it's going to be. So this is the most annoying part of this whole book, is Barry Allen. Scott Snyder, please stop writing him like this. I don't enjoy this Barry Allen. He's not funny. He's not cute. He's just annoying. If this was Wally West, it might be a bit more bearable, but, I mean, you want Flash to be a likable character, right? I mean, you have a TV show about him. He's one of your most popular characters. You want people to like him. People are not going to like this crabby, whiny little sissy boy. So yeah, they're talking about the plan, and Barry's like, "Good, let's do it. I've got about 1,000 tests to run, Flash formulations, because scientific method, right?" And then John says, "Barry, you're not going." And Flash says, "John, come on, you can't be serious. I've spent my whole life exploring the multiverse's secrets. I mean, the source of everything lands here, giving off a code. The fate of the universe hangs in the balance, and you're sidelining me?" And that expression, I think that was a mistake by Jimenez on that one. I really like his art, but that just makes him look pathetic. And so then Superman says, "We can't risk losing you, Barry." I don't know, debatable. If your powers go while you're in there, and he kind of trails off, and he just says, "Well, we need you here. Jean's right." So then he does this whole, pouty face, and but thankfully, Batman comes on and talks some sense into Barry Allen. One thing that Scott Snyder does really well is he writes a really good Batman. I will give him that. Way better than James Tynion or Tom King or any writer since Fresh Start began. I really hope that the new writer for Detective Comics, which I will be reviewing shortly, it'll either be the next review I do or it'll be the one after Justice League 3, which I have. But anyway, that will hopefully be better than what we've gotten thus far. So anyway, he said only Clark's and John's body can resist the pathogenic mutagens long enough in order to reach the totality itself, because even just going inside like the protective shell it has around it is lethal. So they decide that it's going to be John and Clark, and they're going to have protective suits built by Ray Palmer and Batman. So that's cool. And apparently Batman has shrunken down inside of Clark's body, and I think her name, what's Shira? No. That's her name in the Justice League. I think it's Kendra, and yeah, Kendra. So this hot girl's name in this version of the Justice League is Kendra. I wish it was Shira. That's a cooler name, but whatever. They decide she needs to shrink down inside of Martian Manhunter's body. So yeah, there's that. But anyway, then we get this really cool part with Sinestro. So while they're preparing to go into the totality, it still flashes back to John Stewart, and he's still in space. It seems like he's still undecided about helping the Justice League, but as he's flying through space, he sees, I guess it's called the Still Force. So basically, so there's the Speed Force, and then there's the Still Force, which is the opposite of the Speed Force. And John Stewart was trying to find it, and he calls the Guardians and says that it looks like the Still Force has already been unlocked and the cosmic membrane has fallen apart. Whatever that means. The thing, Scott Snyder writes very outlandish stories, which are really fun to read, and it reminds me a lot of the Justice League TV show and Super Friends. But sometimes you just kind of got to read it and go like, yeah, sure, okay, and whatever that means. Sure, let's go with that. But anyway, while he's investigating it, Sinestro shows up, and he is sporting a new costume. So Sinestro says, "What's on the other side? The thing some of us have sought for eons. The bandwidth where all our hidden feelings lie. The darkest emotions. Hate. Bloodlust." And John is like, who is this? Where are you? And Sinestro says, "I'm right here, John Stewart." And apparently he is the first Lantern who unlocked the invisible emotional spectrum. So for those of you who don't know, a couple years back, Ethan Van Sciver and Jeff Johns did this big story about all the different spectrums of the Green Lantern Corps. There used to just be green, but then they thought, well, since green is for willpower, why isn't there, different colors for different character traits? So that's what they created. Blue was for justice, white was for life, black was for death. And there were other colors too. I think red is rage, orange is greed, pink is passion. I'm sure there's one I'm missing, but anyway. So this is the newest addition to that spectrum. It's the invisible emotional spectrum. So as you'll see in a couple of pages, it will reveal the name of what this new lantern is called. So while that's happening back on Earth, John and Green Lantern I'm sorry, Jean and Clark, the suit threw me off, are getting ready to enter the Totality in these awesome looking suits. Um, so, um, Martian Manhunter's heartbeat is too calm, so he's calming it so that he won't get over nervous, I guess, but he's calming it too much. But he's like, I'm fine, Superman. I'm fine. So anyway, yeah, there's the Totality, or the outer shell of the Totality. The Totality is inside of this. So yep, they get ready, and right as they're getting ready to walk in, guess who bursts in with a new rhyme? Your darkest self shall be our knight. Wield the sword of unseen light. I am John Stewart, head of the Ultraviolet Corps, and now you will all die. Dun, dun, dun. So that's where we leave off the Justice League for this issue. And the little narration here says, they could feel it coming off him, a blazing energy. Hatred. Of them? Of himself? Of what? So then we get back to the Legion of Doom for the last little bit of this comic. And Cheetah gets fed up with Lex Luthor and claws his face off because she senses he's lying. She even says, I have a pretty good nose for when someone's lying. And, well, and then she rips into his face. Right here, of course, it looks, like she actually ripped his face off because of the coloring and everything. But don't worry, it's just a robot. So they ask, why is he even here? And turns out he is inside of Superman as well. So both he and Batman are now inside Superman, who's just getting ready to, who is entering the outer shell of the Totality. And man, what a place to leave off. So yeah, that is very very good art. Very interesting place to leave it off. I don't really think I have much else to say about this comic. So the last little bit is the Titans prequel, or not prequel, preview for Teen Titan, or Titans, not Teen Titans, Titans. My gosh. I had a long day of work today, so sorry I'm a little bit fumbly, but I'm not going to read any of it, but I will just say it looks interesting. I'll see reviews on the first issue, see if the team's any good. I like most of the team members. The look looks pretty good. So far, the dialogue is all right. If the story's good, I might pick it up. It seems like it's a mash of the original Teen Titans and Young Justice. So we'll see. We'll see how all this goes. I'm interested, but not overly excited. So that was Justice League number 2. Holy cow, that took 25 minutes to get through. If you guys watched this whole thing, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. There wasn't even a lot to, I don't know, I guess I just went over it in detail. Sorry that that took so long, but I guess it is what it is. Let me know what you guys thought of the review. If you read this, let me know what you thought of it. And again, thank you so much for watching. And I will see you all in the next video. Bye.